Already? Let's see this. Welcome everyone to the Planning Commission's regular meeting for Thursday, November 9th. It is 6:03 p.m. Call the meeting to order. If I can get someone from the staff to do a roll call.
Let's, sorry.
Oh, actually, while we work on sound here, I want to thank you all for joining us in person, those on Zoom, and anyone watching on Facebook Live. All right.
Chair Roberto Cruz,
Present.
Vice Chair Josie Perez Aguilera, President Steve absent, Commissioner Sandy Forte,
Present.
Commissioner Sergio Diaz.
Here. You would all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Alright, so the next order of business is the public comment. At this time, any member of the public may address the commission on items of interest to the public that are within the jurisdiction of the planning commission. Speakers shall have a limited time. Please be brief and to the point. No action or discussion shall be taken on any item not appearing on the agenda, except that commission members may briefly respond to statements made or questions posted by members of the public. Okay, are there any public comments? Any via Zoom? No. Okay, and close the public comment at 6:05. Next order of business is the approval of the minutes for the Planning Commission regular meeting minutes of October 12th, 2023. And exactly. Anyone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for Planning Commission regular meeting minutes of October 12th, 2023.
Okay. Oh, second? I'll second it. All in favor of approving the minutes for October 12th, 2023? Aye. The motion passes. And the minutes are approved. Okay, do we have any commission business? Anybody? Nothing new to report? Okay, I also have nothing. So we'll move along to the public hearing. PH1, resolution number 2023-11. Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Soledad approving an amendment of conditional use permit 2004-2 to remove a card room use at 955 Front Street. The APN 022-033-100 and to further restrict hours of operation.
All right. Thank you, Chair. Planning Commission, Adriana Mora, Associate Planner with the City of Soledad. I'll be doing a brief presentation on the public hearing. And then we do have the applicant in person if there's any questions to the applicant on this item. Next slide, please. So this location is this item is particularly for 955 Front Street, which is currently Centenario Bar and Grill. This location is zone C1 commercial retail that allows permitted uses of a restaurant and conditionally used with any bar uses as well. This location received a CUP back in 2004 for a restaurant and bar. Based on our timelines and our paperwork, around 2011, an amendment was added for a card room. Due to different, based on what we have on file, ABC gambling violations that cost the gambling license to get revoked from the location. And new interest was, provided to the city, for a bar and grill back in July of 2022. Which caused us to look into the card room use, as the applicant became interested in opening up the restaurant once again. Next slide, please. So one thing to note with this location is that after providing the paperwork that a restaurant and a bar was intended to be here, the applicant was then, we went through the process of acquiring the right information and process for him to open, or the applicant to open, and eventually a new application came forward to the planning department about adding a nightclub to the location. Unfortunately, the nightclub use is not allowed per a downtown specific plan. This is just information to the planning commission, which is not an action being discussed today. Due to having the requirement of a minimum of 500 feet away from residential zoned areas. In the next slide, we'll show a map, an aerial view, and it is also proposed to you today of the location, and a 500-foot radius around the location as well, showing residential zoned areas or residential areas. Next, currently staff is proposing to amend the conditional use permit to remove the card room use per Soledad Municipal Code 17.38.350. Card rooms in Soledad due to the inactive license on the location. So we do have findings that planning commission is able to revoke the card room use if no license is there's no active license. At this time, staff is also considering recommending to change the time restriction from 1:30 a.m., which is the current conditional use permit has, to 10 p.m. to stay consistent with other bars and restaurants. Next slide, please. So this is the map that we're referring to with the location, a 500-foot radius around, showing again residential homes and other potential commercial areas. And again, this is at 955 Front Street. Next slide, please. In addition to the conditional use permit, we would want to remove the card room use, but also add the cocktail lounge conditions, which is what the business is currently proposing, to, designate an area that is just serving for bar purposes, to keep that bar use active on the restaurant, with specific conditions where the bar should only be entered from within the restaurant. There shall not be outside entrance or the cocktail lounge except for emergency use only. The cocktail lounge should be operated only during the hours that the restaurant is open for business. And the area of any cocktail lounge shall not constitute more than 25% of the total floor area of the dining room and cocktail lounge. So those are the conditions that we're also proposing to add to that CUP to just be consistent with the current use that the applicant is proposing. Next slide, please. In addition, regarding the restriction of hours of operation from 1:30 to 10 p.m., the main one is to stay consistent, or mostly to stay consistent with other bars and restaurants. From our information, we found that 3 bars in Soledad typically close around 9 to 10 p.m. But also due to public safety concerns, there has been a lot of history with the location, including different safety concerns that was given to us by the Soledad Police Department. So we want to make sure we stay consistent and help regulate those efforts in reducing or increasing public safety concerns on that site. On top of that, there are some Soledad Municipal Code violations, such as live music without permits. And we have to, we provided the 10 p.m. also Since we do have a noise ordinance limit that limits noise, excessive noise after 10 PM, unless you have a permit with the Soledad Police Department. And again, this is a recommendation staff is proposing to mostly also stay consistent with other bars and restaurants. Next slide, please. Again, another aerial view of the location, with respect to where it's currently located. And for consideration of any action tonight. Next slide, please. So at this time, staff recommendation is to consider approving the amendment to the conditional use permit to remove the card room use with the condition to include the cocktail lounge special standards and restrict the hours of operation to 10 PM. Per CEQA, which is environmental review, this is exempt due to existing facilities, so no further environmental analysis is done. However, if planning commission would like more information, the alternative is to continue that item at a later date and provide direction to staff. And if you have any questions for staff, we're open for that. And again, the applicant is here if he would like to add more information on the presentation.
Thank you.
Good evening, John Carrillo. I was looking at that, it said that my license was revoked, it was never revoked, I sold it. I was under the Department of Justice, at the time I was already negotiating to sell my license, I sold it. Now, if you have a license that's revoked, you can't sell it. So that in itself is, I don't know where they got that information, but I did sell my license, I never was shut down. I've been there 60 years. And as far as violations, I used to come here to the city to tell them to come and give me bar checks. As a matter of fact, these last times I've asked the police department to come in and do bar checks at 2 or 3 times a night. As a matter of fact, I went to go talk to Tina Nieto, and I told her that we're gonna be opening up this facility here, we're gonna be in her backyard, and we told her, like, when I was there, for the sheriff to stop in there, and that's what they used to do. But as far as 60 years there, I mean, crime has never been there, I've never had a stabbing or a shooting or, I mean, 60 years, I mean, there was 12 bars here in Soledad at one time. And the only reason I stood there because I had security guards all the time. That was the key. I would cut my profit for the safety of my customers. I mean, that's the way I operate, and that's why I've lasted 60 years, because taking care of my customers. As a matter of fact, a lot of people came to me just thanking me that people have somewhere to go. I mean, I mentioned this already to all police officers. I don't even know all their names, but you can ask them. I said, please come and give me bar checks, even though I have security guards there too. But as far as violations, I got reports here from the Alcohol Beverage Control since 2006 to now. I think it's over 17 years. One violation, in which they never disciplined me. You know, so I have facts here. So I don't know where the staff is getting the report from. I have it here in black and white. They just gave it to me back here in November. And as far as violations, you can look at my record here in the city. I mean, I don't know where, as far as them revoking me or shutting me down, or it's never happened. As a matter of fact, I think when Chief of Police Seals was here, I believe, was he Seals? I used to come tell him, you know, give me a bar check, you know, they would never walk in, but I mean, I never had problems. So I don't know where, and then in the nature, could we see? Look at my last tenant, what happened.
Is that a public comment?
Yeah, it's.
Okay,
I don't know.
Andrea can read that if it's a public comment, right? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, anything that you wanna pass the planning commission, if you can give it to the
Oh,
clerk.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
this is the
I mean-
Q&A kind of.
After that, we would open it to the public.
Okay.
but as far as, them violations, I don't know where you get those violations from, cause I have it right here. Okay, I don't have violations. This is from the Department of Alcohol Beverage Control.
So, Mr. Carrillo, we're talking about the alcohol license or the,
Well, I mean,
Gambling
it all ties
license.
in because, I mean, there's no violations. I mean, that, I just see it because of violations. I don't know what violations they're talking about.
we're looking at the gambling license
Oh, yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Oh,
And you sold that?
yes, yeah,
Okay, so you currently don't have one,
no.
okay.
And I think what he wants, what it sounds like to me,
And then.
I guess, information on here to be updated to reflect whatever the ABC records state. I guess, I don't know, or.
Yeah,
the
so-
information is.
For one clarification, there is the difference between the gambling license and the ABC license. So we are going back to Chair's point, we are talking about the gambling. Just the gambling license, the alcohol license, we don't have a concern for, besides we wanna make sure we apply the specific conditions. Regarding a cocktail lounge and whatnot, so you can continue those bar services.
Okay, okay, we're talking about the gambling, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, as far as the Department of Justice, I mean, sure, I had some small violations, I did have some small violations. But it wasn't to where they say, you know what, we're gonna take your license away, or we're gonna discipline you, but here's what happened too. The Department of Justice burned, maybe back in 2006, that's when they started monitoring all these gambling places. So, I mean, I was new to it too, and I mean, they helped everybody out. I mean, it was a new thing that the Department of Justice was doing too. But, I mean, as far as they never shut me down, you know, I went through the process of selling it. You know, it wasn't to say, you know what, you know, you're running it wrong, you know, but
Okay.
they never shut me down. And here's the other thing, you know, now that I don't have the gambling license, that's a different element. Less people are gonna be coming in, you know, so that's less traffic in there.
Okay.
It's a different element of the way you're doing business there.
Is there any questions?
I guess the question I have, because talking about gambling, license, restaurant, grill, bar, nightclub, like what is it? What is the Cincinnati? What's your vision for the?
Right now?
Yeah.
It's just a restaurant, bar and grill. And we're open, we have a full menu too, we have a complete menu, we don't shut down, we don't shut the cocktail lounge without, the kitchen is always open. We have a full menu there too, I can show you the menu. Would you like to see the menu?
That's okay, thank you.
But we have a full menu there, we have full service, we have. I picked up 2 cooks here that La Fuente shut down, and I got that cook here from La Fuente, she's working for me and. Just trying to create a job here.
I appreciate that.
And I do have a question in regards to the time frame for 10 o'clock, because I know Tops closes at 10 o'clock. Sometimes 11, depending on how busy they are, right? And I know that California Bar and Grill on certain days closes at 10, but on the weekends does not close until midnight. So, and they're a restaurant, bar and grill, and then they have the music on the DJ thing, and then, you know, people dance or whatever, if they still feel like it. But, is that something that still could be offered to this business or not?
Through the chair, so essentially, the reason why the 10 o'clock was recommended, was twofold. The police department actually requested
because they did have quite a few calls on that site historically, which was part of the presentation. And then secondly, a lot of the restaurants do close at 10. And because of the noise ordinance and the proximity to, in this case, this one's very close to residential residences, just to tie into the noise ordinance, because they did have some noise violations. They felt it was better to close, to be consistent with the noise of amplified for 10 o'clock to 10 o'clock because of the proximity to the residents and some of the safety concerns. But the commission has the option of modifying that recommendation. I think there was a mistake in the report that the CUP lists a closure at 1:30 AM. It
Yeah.
says 2 AM. I'll
Oh,
just
sorry.
note that
Yeah.
that was a mistake, my mistake in the report, but you know, you can restrict it further from 1:30 all the way to 1:30 AM to 10. Anywhere in the middle, if you so choose.
When you talk about violations, I don't know what violation you're talking about there.
And the other option is to table the item, and we could come with the specific detail. It's up to the planning commission if you're prepared to take action, or if you would like more detail on that.
I would also want more information about. Like the pizza place, why does it close at 10 during the week and then. You know, a little bit later in the weekend, same thing with the Taste of Pinnacles, I know that they also have live music in the back sometimes, that's. You know, next to two houses there,
Mhm,
so I would wanna see what's the difference between that and then this applicant now.
mhm.
And then, not to point fingers, but you have an arcade there, open until, I don't know, 1:30. Kids are walking around there, I mean. That's the type of business there is, you know, everybody's trying to survive in that type of industry. And Cliff does a really good job, that's what he does. He's a really good job, my hat's off to him, you know, he's been hanging in there for the last 20 years, I believe. Yeah, but he does a good job.
So what exactly are you asking for? Like, you're asking for later time, you're asking for
Yeah,
live music, what is it that you want?
DJ, live music, I mean, we've had that for the last 3 generations. And I've talked to all my neighbors, I get along good with all my neighbors, we've never had problems, I mean, to say, you know what? It's a disorderly house from ABC or something, check the violations, I don't have none.
Through the chairman, may I ask a question? Would it be possible to move on the card room? Given that the applicant is not asking for card room use, we know it's not gonna be used for card room use. You know, and put that motion to the floor to at least get some business done, but it sounds like. From. Board Member Cruz, right? He would like more information about the violations and get a little bit more information about that. And then really kind of look at the time frame. And since we're working on general plan, and from my perspective, if we're looking at changing what we're gonna offer as we start moving on Tin City and changing what's going up and down Front Street to bring in more revenue and upgrade the offerings that we have for customers with disposable income, or even keeping the income that's being taken to San Jose or to Salinas or to Monterey, keeping it here. So looking at that, I'd like a little bit more information about timeframes, what general plan's looking like, violations. But at this point, I think, I don't know how the other commissioners feel, just taking about moving action on the carbon usage to make sure that that is in compliance with the applicant at this point. And then bringing forward the changes and having, you know, data presented so we can make a very informed decision. I'm not from here, so, you know, I've been here 6 years, so I don't know about the history or anything like that. I don't know about you gentlemen, but I'd like to get some more solid base information on what's going on.
Okay, let me, did you have anything else to add? And then we can open the public hearing and then we'll discuss amongst ourselves.
Okay.
I
Anything
mean,
else?
I have the report from ABC, I can leave it to you here. I mean,
Okay,
it's-
hand it
Yeah,
to,
you can hand it to, the,
Burke. Okay, so we open public hearing on this.
Through the chair, before you open the public hearing, I just wanted Ariana to clarify about the amplified sound because that's important. That's not something we can take action on.
Right, so the amplified, we have a noise ordinance, right? So anything, the noise ordinance closes out any amplified noise by 10 PM. And you do have to get a permit from the Soledad Police Department if you wish to go further. But with police department approval, and again, it's part of our ordinance that we're following on the 10 PM action. Which was part of the conditions of the current conditional use permit, they did have that as a condition. So again, based on also what Megan mentioned, the time frame could be modified with that consideration.
Okay. Okay. And it'll start. Okay. So at 6:29, I'll open up the public comment portion of the hearing. So any member of the public that would like to address the commission, please come forward. Try to be brief and to the point. We have 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
And then mention your name.
My name is Robert Bajoni. My address is 125 Pine Canyon Road in Salinas. I've lived most of my life right here in Soledad. I've been into his restaurant when it was a bar. I've been in there when it was a card room. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Has anybody ever been in the building? Anybody that ever had a drink there, had a, you know? Okay, I mean, the point I guess I'm looking at here is, this is a businessman who's been in business here for 60 years. It's been a bar all of this time. I look at the statistics, 81 times the police have been in that area. That's less than 5 times a year for that time period. It's less than 5 times a year. They've been in my business more than that, okay? This is a case of a city that needs more businesses. And I've been saying that I was on this commission for more than 15 years. I've been saying that they need more businesses. All we get is houses. There's nowhere for people to go, nothing for them to do. We're down to maybe 1 bar and a couple of wine places in town. We used to joke when I was young that the town would roll up its sidewalks at 6 o'clock, back when there were 4,000 people here. Well, now there's close to 30,000 people here, and there just isn't anything for people to do. And limiting a business owner like this, or cutting back on his previous restrictions, restricting him more, is not what you should be doing. You should be encouraging businesses. I saw some of his conditional use permits that, the sign is no good. It's too big. It's about the size of your sign. It's about the smaller than that sign. It's smaller than most signs. I mean, I get angry when staff, when their job appears to be restricting businesses, when that's what this town needs more than anything. And I think that if he finds that there's no business after 10 o'clock, he'll probably close his doors. But a bar, and he's hoping to get a liquor license. Well, they have a hard liquor license. Closing at 10 is not what people do. He probably would like to stay open on weekends. I've been there when there was dancing over the years. I mean, it's a business. It makes money. People go there here in town. I don't understand why you guys keep trying to shut businesses down. And I don't say that personally to you. None of you were in charge of anything when I was here 5 years ago. There was a different staff, a different city council, different city manager, but it seems like things don't change. I used to have a business right across the street over there. We had 75 people. City cut our use permit. We had to let everybody go. Shut it down. That was a carrot business. So you can look it up. I hate to see this happen. I hope you guys don't do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any comments via Zoom?
5. No.
The file or letter that, he had. To show.
Yeah, do you,
That was the.
Is it a public comment from a
Public
lady?
comment?
Chair, do you want us to, do you want the clerk to read that, the letter into the record?
Yes. This was from last time.
Okay. Did not survive the closures due to COVID-19 and will remain closed permanently. If you need to redeem your chips, call 510-368-6708 to make an appointment to come in. We will miss you all, and hopefully when things are around, we will see you again. Be safe. Pinnacle Casino.
I don't want that to happen to another business here.
Let me add to that, if you guys are unaware, he spent several $100,000 rebuilding the facility, completely changing it and turning it into a casino and a card room, which he's always had a card room license, but a couple $100,000, the place looks really nice, and then COVID comes. So it gets shut down because of COVID, as do many businesses. And they're just trying to get back going again, and it would be great if you made it easier for them instead of harder. Thank you.
No other comments?
Yeah.
Thank you. For the comments. 6:35, I'll close the public comment section. Lead up to our discussion. You want to begin?
Sure. My thought process is, as I shared earlier, that, we're looking at growing the businesses, a specific way of providing different types of opportunities of entertainment in the area. I agree with that. We need to, amend the card room information. And I'd like to have more discussion about the time frame itself. I look at it as a loss of revenue when large amounts of people go to other cities and towns and drop their money there instead of here. I understand the safety issue concerns, and I understand about the noise ordinance and violations, et cetera, in regards to the amplified sound. I also understand that if he wants to continue utilizing sound later into the evening, he has to get a permit from the police department with their approval, correct? So that's something that Mr. Carrillo could do if he so chose to. If he chooses not to do that, then he will have to abide by the 10 PM rule, correct? Okay, so that's the clarification I wanted in regards to that. And I think that's really all we're really talking about right now, right? Based on this. So anything else would need to come to the table at a different time under a different agenda. So at this point, I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Or what are your thoughts or questions, et cetera?
Well, I guess I'm thinking about the report from staff and the information they received from, the police department, so. I have no personal experience with the business, right? I remember as a little kid driving by, and it was in Mexico, many years ago. But with that said, I also want to get respect what the police department is saying and get more information as far as, what exactly was going on that is making the police department hesitant, to extend their hours of operation. So I would want more information about that. Additionally, I guess the information I would want also is making it fair compared to the other bars in town. If the other bars are able to stay open till 11, 12, making sure that we're being fair across the board. Same thing with the music, right? So I know at the other establishments, they have a DJ, they have parties, do they get permits every time that they have a party?
They
Uh,
should.
So that's some information I would want. Same thing with the Taste of Pinnacles. They've had bands in the back, in the backyard there. Again, just making sure we're consistent. And not, allowing Mr. Carrillo to not do the same thing that the other business are doing.
I agree with my colleagues. I think we have a couple of options here. One would be approving the amendment to remove card room and restrict the time. I think we could also, could we give them like a 3-month midnight closure, see how things go? Is that a possibility? Then revisit it in 3 months?
Through the chair, I don't think so, because this is a conditional use, permit. What would happen is you could set a time. And then if there are a lot of problems, we can actually go through a revocation type process. Which could result in further conditions to the conditional use permit. Which could be restrictions of time, or could be revocation altogether.
When adjusting the time, can you also adjust it in certain days of the week? As a
Yes.
condition, for example, Friday, Saturday?
When you consider if you wanted to restrict the time further, you can restrict it. During weekends, it's not uncommon for bars, to have restricted time periods for weekends versus weekdays. Sometimes you could even have Thursday, Friday and Saturday night, and then Sunday, maybe, people seem to like a more quiet Sunday. I've seen that, so you do have some options, and, we could bring, some of the information back and schedule it for the next meeting to consider the time and get that information for you and some options. Or if you have some ideas of what you think, we can specifically investigate that kind of hour restrictions. Well, gentlemen, have you guys stepped foot in the business yet?
I have not.
I've been there a couple of times. I enjoy the food.
Mhm.
I like the late night ability to get something to eat after, 10 o'clock, other than Taco Bell. So, that's important to me. I'll tell you that much. Taco Bell and I don't get along. So, and otherwise, I will be honest with you guys, I leave town. And I go drop my money in Monterey and Salinas and San Jose. And on the weekends, we'll go down south and drop our money there. We try and do our best to bring and leave our income here in the community we live in. But, if there's not something late night for us, then yeah, we leave. So I think, also in regards to the fairness to the other businesses, if the other businesses, are complaining about a new business coming in. And, well, the hours are different. How can we have these hours? Well, then that's something that they also need to come and negotiate in regards to their public use. If it's cutting into their business, healthy competition is necessary in our small community. And catering to different populations is also important. So, when you look at Taste of the Pinnacles, it's a different population. When you look at, California Pizza, we're looking at a different population, plus they have large catering opportunities. Taste Tops has limited opportunities for that. Then the only other place that's like a place we can sit and have a drink is at the Windmill, right? And they close at 10 o'clock, but they're a restaurant, venue. I know California Pizza closes their doors yesterday we were there to have pizza, and we got lucky, it was slow. And, we got lucky, the pizza place was still open, and the bar closed, I think, at around 10 o'clock last night. But, we even contemplated like taking off and going somewhere else, but we made it on time to eat. So I was looking at big picture, future, what parameters are we gonna start setting for businesses that wanna come in? What type of entertainment value are we gonna offer since we are gonna start, marketing ourselves as a, destination for people to stop, and it's being marketed across the nation as one of the top 5 places to stop because of Pinnacle. All right, so if we look at the big picture, what are other things? And I think some of the things that our colleagues have talked about would be great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One quick question is. The California coordinator, is that in the downtown? Specific plan area?
No,
Okay.
no. So, that brings up a good question. It's again, one of the unique things about the uses as well for this location, it is part of the downtown specific plan. So it does probably have much more stricter regulations than other facilities outside of the downtown specific plan. So that's something to consider when looking at, different types of uses.
Well. Need to table it to the next meeting, but I think we all would like to see. The police report. Or their kind of summary of the history. And also see how other businesses. Have the permits to remain open longer. And then see what we can work out as far as. You know, maybe giving them a later time on the weekends. Let's see.
To have one more question, for Megan. Can we actually move forward a portion of it, which would be the card room, or does it have to be all one?
You could take action on that and we would probably. Agendize for the next meeting, the other topic, and we probably wouldn't make them amend this, record the CUP twice, but you could. Take that action, and then when we come back, we would have the CUP that eliminated, so, yeah, you can take that action.
Okay,
Okay.
you wanna word that?
As forget the one who talks to us is the one who gets to say stuff.
Or do you want me? Or
Uh,
word it?
Yeah.
Let's see.
And actually, maybe to make it easier, you can, instead of taking an action, what I think might be helpful is you're providing direction to staff to move forward with the removal of the card room use and to come back with data, and information to help, review the time, to restrict the time.
All right.
And so maybe instead of taking an action of approval, you're providing that direction to staff, and we'll come back with
So it's tabling it.
continuing, yeah,
Continuing.
you can provide the direction to staff to remove the card room from the CUP and to do further research to bring the data about the additional restaurant restrictions and the violations, and to continue it to the next planning commission meeting.
Okay. We need a little guidance on. That's not something we vote on, that's just,
Yeah,
No, you still
you
vote.
would vote on that, yeah.
The
All right.
motion would be more like, continuing the item with direction to staff approving. Yeah.
okay, so then I will. Try here, I'll make the motion to continue this item to the next meeting. With instruction to staff to provide. Police reports and. Other options for weekend hours. No, that sounds too much, sorry.
No,
Let's, how about, let's wordsmith for a minute here. How about, I don't. So, the board would like to. Provide direction to the staff. To amend the card room use from the CUP and bring forth more information in regards to the hours of operation and use of the current bar and grill, as well as information from the police department. Any pertinent information from the police department.
And actually, you could just, I heard you make a motion, so no one has to repeat. what
what I
you
just
said.
said?
You made that motion,
So 1 second.
and we just need a second. How did you guys feel about that one?
I will second that.
All right.
Okay,
Right.
so, then,
There's a motion.
so there's a motion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a motion
Got a
passes.
roll call? Or
We'll do a roll call?
Yeah. Just to have it.
Chair Lorenzo Cruz,
Aye.
Vice Chair Josie Perez Aguilera. Absent. Commissioner Santi Fuentes,
Aye.
Commissioner Sergio Diaz.
Aye. Okay. The motion passes.
So we'll provide that information at the next meeting, and coordinate with Mr. Carrillo if he wanted to share the other additional reports as well.
Okay.
I hear.
Oh, we'll coordinate on the next planning commission meeting and let you know, keep you updated on the process.
And then if you wanted to share anything you have, you can leave it with the clerk today, or you can give it to Ariana later.
Okay, great,
Mhm,
great.
Yeah.
And, we may have a special meeting, to the planning commission. So it may be earlier than the normal date. We're gonna be discussing that shortly.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but as soon as we have a meeting date, we'll keep you apprised of the meeting and other publishing, because we do have to publish it, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to old business with. Sorry, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Mr. Pagoni.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you'll be thinking of opportunities, not restrictions, as a business owner in the town.
Thank you. And there's no old business. Move on to new business. There is no new business either. And it brings us to my favorite part, the Community and Economic Development Department report.
Yes.
I'd like to know what's going on.
Yeah, so, I know we shared a written report, but I think the most exciting thing that I wanted to highlight is, well, I'm not sure if anyone got to attend the November 2nd meeting, the Day of the Dead meeting, or event, general plan kickoff. We had a great turnout, probably over 500 people show up. We had a lot of feedback on the general plan, so we're really consolidating the feedback. I think one of the biggest things we got, at least from a land use perspective, is a lot of people want to see a connection from the neighborhood across to the commercial area, because in those neighborhoods they can see the commercial, but there's no way to drive to it. So if we can make that like an on-grade rail crossing connection to really connect the commercial area, make it less isolated, that was probably one of the #1 things that we heard. And of course, people want more businesses, more retail serving businesses. But we got a lot of great comments. Pedestrian safety was very high, also received a lot of high marks. And a lot of people are very interested in the general plan. We've got a lot of contact numbers and people want us to follow back up. So I think it was, a great event. The other thing to let you know is that I think yesterday you might have seen some movement at the Soledad Marketplace. So Dutch Brothers has officially broken ground. So pretty
What that was about.
excited about that. And then a couple of other things to note.
we will be having a flurry of activity at the planning commission. We have, for the Soledad Marketplace, the tentative map process moving forward, I think partially to enable the tractor supply to move forward. So that's one item. And we also might have an item, with parcel E. They have to do a PUD amendment, but we've been in conversation with the developers providing land to Eden Housing, which is an affordable housing provider that would build the affordable housing component on that, parcel off of Santa Clara. So a PUD might be coming forth to you, an amendment to that, but we're working really fast, on a couple of projects that will mean some more housing construction in the community as well. So lots going on, and I don't know if Ariana wanted anything to add.
Yeah, going back to parcel E, so that's the property by Santa Clara. That has been vacant for a good while, so we're working on getting those homes constructed. And working on the general plan, continuing those efforts for engagement. So the event was very successful in our favor. In addition to that, we're just really focusing on getting all these potential housing or this housing project moving forward. And we provided the activity reports that we also provide to city council. That way we provide the same information to both bodies, as well as a building record from that month, to keep you updated of anything that's coming up that has been approved to the city. Another thing is to continue to market is the pre-approved plan. So we've been working, at least myself, having appointments with residents interested in pre-approved ADUs. So far, there's still a few things that they haven't completed a full application, but there is a crowd that is interested on those pre-approved plans. So staff is just working on that to get those approved and finally constructed. So if you have any questions on the staff report, we're here to answer.
And one last thing I forgot to mention is that we are, based on the joint meeting with city council, we are finalizing some edits to the housing element, and that will be provided back to the consultant, probably this Sunday, and we will then officially submit maybe at the end of next week to the Housing and Community Development Department of the state of California. And coincidentally, I went to a round table with the Office of Planning and Research on Monday. And one of the biggest complaints were the changes in new requirements of the housing element. A lot of people felt very frustrated that the state mandates these things without understanding how much time and effort it's on staff. So.
I guess the only question I would have, I know for a lot of us, it's very difficult to attend like additional meetings, like the other one with those. Is it possible to have like a master plan discussion within our regular scheduled meeting? One, I don't know how you guys feel as far as having that discussion here. Or at least scheduled before or after, where
like an update on what's gonna happen and what's going on with the GPAT kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like for like same conversation you had at the other Muertos, but maybe having it here with yeah.
Sure, we didn't really have a discussion, actually. It was more of a pop-up. So we had different pop-ups.
Yeah.
But what we could do is we could do a presentation about the event and show you the summary of what we heard, and we could even show you the boards about how people voted. Sure, I think that would be wonderful. I did attend for a short time.
Yeah.
I did dress up. I ran into, I don't know if I saw you or not, but it was a wonderful event. It was great to see the people, the community truly engaged in something that they connected with. And it was, I think we found the key to getting more community involvement, which has always been in my experience as a school administrator, is, you know, you have food, you have community, you have music, and you have some sort of entertainment, and they will come,
Yeah.
you know, and so it was very nice to see the pop-ups, kind of like a job fair,
Yeah.
you know, format, and so people were coming around and putting stickers, very interactive. People were asking a lot of questions, it was a comfortable environment. My only recommendation would be holding it on November 1st instead of November 2nd, because I think we missed some populations that actually went to the cemetery, you know, because that's the day.
Yeah.
But November 1st, I think would be great, because you're right on there, still, Day of the Dead, between, you know, the 31st and the 2nd. And a lot of the people that came and spoke to me, or that I spoke to, were asking if this was going to be an annual event, because they were hoping it would be.
Yeah.
That was the input that was given to me, and so, I thought, well, I'll just let them know November 1st, not the 2nd, because we always go and do something in
Yeah.
the cemetery, so it's difficult. I took time away from my family event to come to make sure
Yeah.
there was representation from the board. So, but it was wonderful, and right now at the Business Expo, that's really good, there's a lot of positive input coming from people. They were saying they really like to see more of that happening here, so.
Yeah, we can definitely do that presentation at the next meeting and summarize those efforts, and also provide any general plan content over to planning commission that we have finalized or reviewed, for you to just be on the loop of the general plan efforts. And if there's any questions you'd like for us to present, or additional topics on that, while we're working on that, we can bring it to planning commission as well.
And I think we also, just to let you know, we also decided to kind of, not do the joint, council planning commission meetings anymore. But just to kind of keep you guys more separate through the process, so there will be times where you will get a presentation, maybe not from the consultants, maybe from us, maybe the consultants will be online about visioning, but that way we felt like it was a lot to manage all the feedback from all of you. And so we didn't,
Rebecca did a great job.
he did a great job, but we didn't want anyone to feel like they didn't get to share their comments, so we thought by keeping it separate, it would make it easier for both sides.
Okay. We will. Right. The next order of business, commissioners' reports. Do you have anything to report?
I think I reported that I attended the Day of the Dead, and I'm actually part of the Business Expo, and we were rushing over here to make sure we're on time for the meeting, and I'll be heading back over there, and I'm looking forward to Cafecito next month, so yay. Thank you.
I've got no commissioner reports, but would like to say that, I do apologize for not being able to attend some of the meetings. However, a new schedule. So I've got more time, more freedom, so I will be here
Oh, great.
from here on out.
This is great.
So, until they send me back to Missouri, but we'll handle that later.
All right.
So.
I did have one other, I'm sorry, the chair, I should have mentioned this. We are actually going on the November 15th council meeting. I was asked to bring up, how the council appoints planning commissioners. So we're gonna discuss the appointment process. I think some planning commissioners requested maybe a change, because right now it's selected by the mayor and confirmed by the council essentially. So basically the report will be what other jurisdictions are doing, and they'll provide further direction to staff. But our intention had been on the 15th to also, what happened was we were supposed to talk about that on the 1st, but there was no quorum at city council on the 1st. So all the agenda items from the 1st got pushed on to the 15th. So we are hoping to have the appointments on December 6th for the planning commission vacancy, and right now we have 3 applications. And if you know of anyone who might be interested before the end, or I would say in the next week, contact us. We can add you to the applications. But we want to honor those people who've been waiting for some time, so we're trying to move that forward. So hopefully you'll have some, hopefully, our fingers crossed, someone will be appointed on the 6th.
Thank you for the updates. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'd like to thank the members of the public, those following on Zoom and Facebook Live. And we'll adjourn the meeting at,
Did I come for the sign here?
No. No, it wasn't part of the agenda.
okay.
Okay. So can that be added at the next one to discuss the use and signage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we
we
can
can
look
clarify.
into what is allowed.
Okay.
It may not be something that can be added to the agenda. We'll talk offline, and
Okay.
if we can, we will. If we can't, we'll let you know why.
Okay. All right.
Can I leave these packets here?
Yes, sir.
You could take it with Andrea.
Okay, well then I will adjourn the meeting at 7:05 PM.